Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. We are going to be starting the conversation and talking about mindset shifts during a recomposition phase or just the recomposition, body recomp mindset, all of the things that go into body recomp mentally. We're going to start that conversation today. I'm going to be honest, it's a big undertaking to think about mindset shifts that come along with body recomp, to talk about mindset shifts that come along with body recomp, but we are going to start the conversation today. I got a lot of messages after the podcast, a few episodes back, where I talked about body recomp, and that episode really, really spoke to a lot of you, and I'm really, really thankful. I actually got some really sweet comments on that episode. On Spotify, you can send me a comment in regards to specific episodes. So it was episode 166, Rethinking Fitness, How Body Recomp Can Transform Your Fitness Journey. It was that episode. I had someone say they would love to listen to me talk about the mindset shift getting into a recomp phase. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So thank you for the comment. I have another comment saying that this episode is super informative and relatable, that they still weigh the same amount as she did a month and a half ago, but looks totally different, is literally shrinking, looks better, feels better. And I have another comment saying that she loved this episode, currently roughly week 14 of a body recomp journey, seeing amazing results. And this podcast has been such a great resource. And she also says that the Post Malone Oreos are the best, in all caps, which couldn't agree more. So good. Post Malone Oreos, what a dream combo, right? That's the collab of my dreams. But anyways, so I thank you so much for the comments. If you didn't know already, you can leave me a Spotify comment on particular episodes, which is great. I love to know if those episodes came across well to you, if you have other questions, what you want me to dive into. I also appreciate your messages on Instagram. So wherever you can reach out to me. But while we're on the topic, if you could please go rate, review, send a comment on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening, I would appreciate it more than you know. It really, really helps the show to be pushed out to more people, which is ultimately the goal. And I just really, really love reading your comments and appreciate your ratings and all of the things. So I digress. Back to work here. But so the mindset shifts during a body recomp phase are pretty deep. And I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, they are deep. Because anytime you have a mindset shift of letting go of fat loss, right? And thinking about building muscle, thinking about food as fuel rather than restriction or something that's good or bad or something you shouldn't have. It is a big deal. It is a deep meaning conversation that you're going to have with yourself. So it is important to talk about. It's also really important to notice, I guess I will say, that we all come from different places. So even if anyone who's starting a body recomp journey, a body recomp program, you're shifting your mindset, this can come from a lot of different places. We are all starting from a different place. Some of us are starting severely underweight and want to change the composition of our body, gain muscle, gain fat, get bigger, right? Get stronger, be healthier. Some of us are starting from maybe a severely overweight place and we need to lose a lot of fat and put on muscle and be healthy. So a lot of us grew up in a place where food was looked at as good and bad, or you had to clean your plate, or some of us grew up thinking, people were big boned and people aren't fat. And maybe some people grew up thinking that, they would be fat forever, and fat shaming goes a long way. So you can have a completely different starting place than someone else. So the way that we talk about body recomp is really, really deep. So I just want to like set the tone and say that like this episode isn't just going to be simple mindset shifts of body recomp, because there's no way that we can do that, because some of us were picked on in middle school for being too big. Some of us were picked on in middle school for being too small. And that goes with us throughout our lives, right? That transformed our high school journey and then our college experience and then into adulthood, depending on what people said and how you thought about yourself and what parents said and what grandparents said and what you believed about yourself and what you read in magazines and what you saw on TV. So our experiences are all different. So we all have different self-sabotage, self-limiting beliefs. We all have different, I guess, traumas, different baggages that we are coming into this journey with. So I just wanted to preface this by saying I am going to talk about the mindset shifts, but I want you to really take this for yourself. And not, if something I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, it's just because you're not in that place in your journey, and that's okay. I want you to take what I'm saying and mold it to your own experience, because it's really, really important that you encompass this body recomping journey, but know that it's not going to look the same as anyone else's journey. It's just not. So let's get into this. I definitely want to talk about essentially what we're doing is letting go of the fat loss obsession, right? So when we're diving deep into the mental side of body recomp, because real change isn't just about lifting weights or eating more protein or eating less and running more. It's about shifting how you think. And if you can shift how you think, you can shift anything about your body. But until you shift how you think, you won't change anything about your body. That's why we get stuck in diet cycles, because you're not thinking. Essentially, you are just finding a program, or you're cutting out processed foods, or you're cutting out breads, or you're cutting out whatever, right? You're cutting out sugars like for 30 days. You're not even thinking, you're just doing, and you don't even have a goal in mind except for maybe some weight loss. You don't have a plan in place for after that challenge is over, or you're going to have to eat sugar eventually. I mean, unless you're a really, really special person and you can figure out how to not do that, you're going to have to eat a little bit of processed food. You're going to have to eat some foods that aren't quote unquote clean, some foods that aren't quote unquote whole. So it's really important that you kind of shift how those foods affect you, what you really want for your life. And when you're focused on building muscle and fueling your body and reshaping your body, the old fat loss mindset, the old weight loss mindset, the old restriction, all of those mindsets can start to creep in, especially when the scale starts to go up or your body starts to look different in the mirror. Today, we're going to talk about these changes and why they are a good thing and how to kind of reframe your progress, and you'll be able to think about your long-term results instead of thinking about going back to a quick fix. So if you're in the middle of a recomp phase, it can start to become hard because you will start to see changes in your body. And those changes are generally not you becoming smaller, not right away anyway. So sometimes you hit a roadblock and you're like, I'm feeling plateaued, or you might start to gain muscle and you see it on your body in a way that you think, is that too much? Is that too much muscle? Are my legs too big? Am I getting too big? That could be something that you could think about yourself in this journey. And I know that because I think that about myself sometimes, and I have many, many times over the years. So what this looks like is body recomp requires a different mindset. And I think we're all aware of that at this point, because, most of our life we spend thinking about being smaller, restricting, eating less, things like that, losing weight, fat loss, those types of things, burning fat at night. What exercises burn fat? What workouts can we do to burn body fat? All those types of like catchy phrases, instead of fueling your body, becoming stronger, looking better, being more healthy. Weight loss doesn't necessarily mean health. Skinny doesn't necessarily mean health, right? So we have to start by changing our mindset into the things that I've talked about, figuring out what you want for your body, figuring out how you want to look, how do you want to feel. It's more than the scale. It's so much more than the scale. speaking of scale, I really like the Renfo scale or any kind of a smart scale for this, for body recomp, because you can see even when the number stays the same, or if the number goes up, or if it goes down. But generally we're like, oh my gosh, I'm on a recomp journey and the scale's going up. Like no one ever really associates the scale going up as being a good thing, but it can be. And if you're gaining muscle, you can see that on the smart scale. If you're losing fat, you can see that on the smart scale. You can see skeletal muscle. You can see bone density. You can see so many things that's important for your recomp journey. And I find a lot of times my clients will say like, oh my gosh, this smart scale has really changed the game, because even though the overall body weight number stayed the same, I can see so many little things moving and a lot of my work paying off. That's how you rewire your thoughts around the number on the scale. I believe a big part of that is having a smart scale. So you can, instead of it just being the number on the scale, we hear that a lot, right? Don't focus on the number on the scale, meaning your overall body weight. But yeah, you can focus on muscle gain. You can focus on fat loss. You can focus on your visceral fat. You can focus on skeletal muscle. There's so many things that are inside your body, right? That make up your body weight, but we don't think about a lot of them being broken down and what that means. Also, the number on the scale doesn't have to be so scary. I love when clients are able to weigh daily and just use that as information. Like, okay, this is how much I ate yesterday. This is how much I moved yesterday. And I woke up this morning and the scale says this. So today I'm going to move this much again. I'm going to eat this much again. Tomorrow, when I wake up, the scale says this, right? And it has a lot to do with, of course, if your body is holding on to water weight, how many carbs you had, your cycle, your hormone, like so many different things, stress, sleep. So when you're just weighing once a week or even every other week or once a month, if you have kind of a negative relationship with the scale, the smart scale can really help you overcome that. And honestly, seeing your body as a vessel and an amazing being, and the fact that we should fuel it instead of starve it is such a good thing. So you're going to have to rewire your mindset in the sense of you're not going to necessarily become smaller quickly. I know the goal is, even if you're coming from a very, very healthy place of I want to gain muscle and I want to lose fat. If you have more muscle on your body than fat, which is the goal, right? Obviously, you're going to be smaller. So your goal doesn't have to be smaller. Your goal can be to be stronger, to be friggin' ripped, to change that number on the scale. And eventually that will cause you to be smaller, because as you are building muscle and losing fat, even if that's at the same time, you're going to ultimately become smaller. But when your goal is to build muscle, you're going to eat differently and move differently than when your goal is to lose weight. Do you see how the mental, even just right there, my goal is to become strong and gain muscle versus my goal is to lose weight and be smaller. Like, the actions that you're going to take are going to be so different based on those two goals alone. But building muscle and losing fat is going to cause your body to become smaller, and it's going to be more fun. So many more things are going to happen that are good for you with that mindset rather than the opposite mindset. Something else we can talk about is adjusting to the changes in how your body looks and feels. It's weird when you start to gain muscle. When you first start to gain muscle, it's motivating. And I hear this a lot. I was really motivated. I've started going to the gym, and there's it's not beginner's luck, but it's like beginner gains, I guess. You start going to the gym and you start eating even a little healthier. You don't have to be perfect with it. But when you start going to the gym and lifting weights heavy with a plan, you're going to see muscle gain and you're going to feel stronger. Each week when you go in, you're like, oh my God, I can lift heavier weight. I can do more reps. You're feeling yourself getting stronger, and that's motivating. Eventually, you're going to get to a place where you question, like I said earlier, am I too big now? Am I too strong now? And that happens a lot if you haven't gotten your macros in place, you're not losing fat, but you are gaining muscle. So you are feeling stronger and you're looking a little stronger and you're feeling really good. But then you'll look in the mirror and be like, ugh, I see a little muscle, but I still see fat. I don't know if I like this, right? That's where people start to think, I think I'm getting bigger. This is where the I don't want to be bulky comes in. It's because you're not losing fat at the same rate that you're gaining muscle. So now you have your same body and you're gaining muscle. You will become a little bit bigger for a while, right? We have to lose some of that fat that's on top of the muscle for so many reasons. But when you look in the mirror, it can be tricky because you're thinking your whole life you spent being smaller, being smaller, being smaller. And now you're not necessarily bigger or fatter or anything. You're just changing and it's different. And it's accepted in society, of course. I mean, you can walk around looking kind of anyway, honestly, and be accepted by some people somewhere in society. But you're going to think, like, you're going to have these self-limiting beliefs. You're going to think people are looking at me. You're going to think, you're just going to kind of second guess it, even yourself. And it's more so because you're second guessing yourself, because in the beginning, right, you're super motivated. You have a plan. You're going to the gym. You're feeling good. You're seeing changes. You're getting stronger. You feel good and motivated. It's once you start to second guess yourself, you think everybody else in the room is second guessing you. And maybe they are. And maybe you're not confident enough to just say, fuck you. This is what I'm going to do. And this is what I look like. Move along, right? But yes, when you walk by a mirror in the middle of a body recomp phase, it will be different because you're not necessarily just shrinking. You're not just losing weight. You're not just being smaller. Your body is changing into a new version of yourself. And that's different. And we're just not sometimes ready or used to different. But keep going, keep going, keep going. This is why having a community around you is huge. I don't know if you saw my stories a couple weekends ago that I was in the Chicago area with my friend Erin, who I do the Soul Fit podcast with, and we are building a membership. And it is for this reason exactly, because there is not a community that we have found anywhere that we've seen. I would have loved to have this community for myself when I was changing my mindset like this. There's not really a community or a place or people or resources for this type of thing. When you're feeling this way, like, how am I going to feel in this journey? What do I do when I feel that way? Who can I trust to guide me through it? Should I keep going? Am I doing something wrong? All of these things that are going to come with this body recomp journey, we're going to talk about in this membership. And I'm so excited to roll it out, hopefully soon in the next couple of weeks. But this is why, because getting rid of that shred culture mindset and those short-term fat loss gimmick mindsets and all of the products that help you shred and lose fat while you're sleeping and burn and all those types of things, right? That's like so normal, but it shouldn't be. So like normalizing putting in work and normalizing being strong and normalizing being healthy and looking at food as fuel and not restricting and unrestricting and understanding why you're doing certain things and what's going to come along with that journey instead of just blindly doing it. That is so, so important in changing your mindset. Also building patience and trusting yourself and hopefully your coach that is giving you the plan to follow, and self-compassion in your journey. All those things are so important. It's literally do or die with those things. Patience, trust, and self-compassion. If you don't have those things in your fitness journey, in your body recomp journey, girl, like it's going to be really, really hard, right? So those are just kind of the topics that, I'm obviously going to touch on here a little bit more, but I wanted to really bring to the surface in this episode some of the things that you're going to struggle with. Mindset's going to be a struggle. Confidence is going to be a struggle. Motivation is going to be a struggle. Some things that you can do to help this mindset, help yourself kind of, especially in the beginning as we're just kind of starting this journey together, talking about body recomp and talking about the mindset shifts. In the beginning, like I said, you're going to be kind of motivated. So you're going to feel like, you probably feel like this right now. And if you haven't started your body recomp journey yet and you're thinking, this is an interesting concept, body recomposition, I can be in control and I can make any changes to my body that I want. I can have my body look any way that I want. How do I do that? It starts with consistent workouts. It starts with confidence in a plan, confidence in those workouts. You might show up to the gym and feel like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but you have a plan and you can know, okay, Christy gave me these workouts or I got these workouts from wherever, but I know they're good. I know they're going to get me to where I want to go, right? So you have consistent workouts. You have confidence in those workouts, not maybe in yourself yet. That's okay. Confidence in the workouts. You're excited about the journey ahead of you. You're optimistic and excited, and you're tracking macros. That's a really, really good place to start. But walking past a mirror can kind of mess with your journey. Having friends tell you, it's weird that you're going to the gym. It's weird that you're trying to get stronger. Like that's, so crazy to me. You're a different person. You're not as fun as you used to be. Things like that. That will be kind of a mind fuck in the beginning. But once you start to see progress and your confidence builds in yourself, that will really, really help you. Having a community around you of people that are learning, that are doing the same thing, that want better for themselves, that want to be stronger, that don't want to shrink themselves, that is a game changer. I can't even tell you. When I first started coaching on my own, I know it was Beachbody coaching before, and that was just not authentically a good fit and that was way more so the shrinking of your body mindset. And I wasn't about that. When I first started coaching, I'll even say like really authentically to myself and realizing this is really what I want to help women, help people with. This is what really changed. And that's why I wanted to have a community. That's why I wanted to have this podcast of just my peeps, right? And I can talk to you like you're just my friend and we're walking through life together. And we're walking through this journey together. So that's having this community and have someone that you can listen to. So going back through my podcast episodes, keep a notes section on your phone where you maybe go through and write down the number of your favorite podcast episodes of mine or any other podcast episode that you love, talking about health in a good way, talking about fitness in a good way, talking about body recomposition. So when you're feeling frustrated, you can go back and say, okay, which one of these episodes do I need to listen to right now for like a nice quick kick in the ass and some motivation, right? Even reminders about not worrying about what people think, focusing on why you're there, keeping your goals in mind, keeping my words in mind. This shit is not optional. Food is fuel. Track your food. It literally takes 5 fucking minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Hit your protein. You won't get the body you want without protein. You won't get the body you want without going to the gym, right? So your mindset needs to be really strong and really focused. But in the beginning, it won't be because you won't know what you're doing, quite frankly. So you're going to need something, maybe it's this episode, to go back to and listen to get your shit together so that you can remember why you started this journey in the first place. Something else that's really important is to unfollow people on social media that are obsessed with talking about things that don't align with your journey. So in order to really keep this body recomp mindset going, you're going to have to really, really focus on the right things. And people who are selling fat loss and people who like fat loss products, I guess, people who are selling, because I talk about fat loss. Let me back up. I talk about fat loss in a good way, right? If you're going to lose weight, we want most of that to be fat. We don't want to be losing bone density. We don't want to be losing muscle, right? We want to be losing fat. If someone is saying, I have this supplement for fat loss, and here's a new supplement for fat loss, and you should eat X, Y, and Z for fat loss, and you should eat at a certain time of day for fat loss, or you should take this supplement at night to burn fat while you're sleeping. Those types of things are stupid. They're a waste of your money and you don't need them. And so you need to unfollow people who are talking about only whole foods, only clean foods, supplements that you don't need, anything like that, where people are making you question. If you hear someone talking about something and you think, oh, maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to buy that. Maybe I need what they're having. You need to stop following that person for a while and stop soaking up that content. In order to change your body, what you need to do is gain muscle. You gain muscle by going to the gym and lifting heavy. You have to stress your muscle out, tear it down, lift something super heavy and work your muscle so that it tears down. while you're resting, that muscle rebuilds and it rebuilds bigger. And then you do it again and it rebuilds bigger. And you tear it down again and it rebuilds bigger. You need protein, you need carbs, and you need fats to be able to have energy to get through your workout, to get through your lift, and to repair your muscle. You also need, for body recomposition, you need fat loss. In order to lose fat, you have to be lifting and building muscle, because if you're not purposely building muscle, your body will use some muscle to burn for energy. So you want to be hitting the right macros. You don't have to be obsessed about it because this is lifelong, right? So it's not an obsession. You don't have to be perfect about your macros, but you have to change your mindset on what you're eating and why you're eating it. You also have to realize that there are two ways to body recomp. You can gain muscle and you can lose fat at the same time. So kind of eating in a maintenance phase, and that will help you to gain muscle and lose fat at around the same time. If you're eating in maintenance phase, in maintenance calories, you can gain muscle and you can lose fat simultaneously. It might not be gram for gram, pound for pound, obviously, but it will be around the same time. That's what I do most of the time. Most of the time, I'm in a maintenance phase. I'm eating maintenance calories and I'm lifting in a way to maintain my body. So you can do that pretty much all the time. That's one way to body recomp. Probably the easiest, not the fastest, but the easiest. Another way is to have building phases where you're eating a little bit more and you're lifting heavy to put on some muscle. And then you're backing down a little bit, eating less so that you can lose fat. So it's a purpose, like you're doing it on purpose. You are purposefully losing fat and you are purposefully gaining muscle at different times. So you'll spend some time gaining muscle, you'll spend some time losing fat. You'll spend some time gaining muscle, you'll spend some time losing fat. That's a really good way to do it as well. It's a little more complicated because your training will change because you'll be lifting heavier, higher weights, heavier weights, less reps. And then during a cut phase, you won't have as much energy because you're not bringing in as many calories. So you'll have to lift a little bit lighter and more reps, things like that. So your training phases will change. Both are great. That can go great with certain seasons of life, certain people who travel, things like that. If you want to have a little bit more fun on the weekends and be more strict during the week, you can change your macros to do that. For me personally, it's just really, really easy for me to eat pretty much the same foods, pretty much the same calories, work out pretty much the same all year round and maintain. I do go into a slight cut and a slight build, but that's mostly just to like enjoy the holidays. And so I can eat a little bit more and lift heavier. And then it's to cut a little bit to lose fat. So I'm in kind of a slight, I'm right in between both of those, right? But it's just figuring out what you need to do for yourself. So once you start to think of eating at maintenance and your body's really happy there, or do I want to do the phases? And what does that mean for me? But no longer are we thinking about shrinking our body. No longer are we thinking about only weight loss. No longer are we restricting. No longer are we being perfect and starting over every Monday and following things perfectly. You are now thinking about walking, water, workouts, macros, becoming stronger, becoming healthy, building muscle, like purposefully going to the gym and thinking, okay, I'm lifting today. I'm training today. I have a weightlifting session today. Change the words that you're saying, right? I'm not on a diet. I'm eating healthier. I'm hitting my macros. It's not like a fad thing. It's like something that you're going to be doing forever. And it really, really is so, so nice when you get to do that. So this is the beginning of the conversation, like I said, of these mindset shifts and a couple things that you're going to run into. Like I said, friends are going to say things. You're going to gain muscle and that's going to feel weird. And you're going to second guess it and be like, am I looking manly? Are my legs too big? Those are things that I've said in the last few years. And I'm this far into my journey and I know a lot, but I still look in the mirror sometimes and think, are my legs too big? Am I losing fat fast enough? Kind of questioning myself. Something that you're going to need to know is I'm really sick of 30-day challenges and 60-day challenges and 90-day challenges. Something you need to know is about your own journey, about me, is going to take longer than you want it to take. Body recomp is going to take a long time, but honestly, everything's going to take a long time. And that's something you need to know about me is I'm going to just shoot it to you straight. Okay. If you are looking to lose weight, let's say you have 50 pounds to lose, that's going to take a long time and it's not going to be really fun and it shouldn't be fun, right? It's not necessarily a great time to body recomp. It's not the best, most exciting time to lose weight. It's not about that. This is about being healthy. This is about moving because it's good for you, moving because you should. This is about so many different things rather than just what you look like and being smaller. This is about health. This is about strength. This is about longevity. This is about the things that matter. Okay. Mindset, motivation, confidence, community, accountability, all of those types of things roll so seamlessly into gaining muscle and losing fat and being the best version of yourself and changing the look of your body. If you want to have bigger biceps, you can do that. If you want to have bigger quads, you can do that. You can look in the mirror and say, I don't love where I'm at now, but I love that I'm trying and I love that I'm on this path and I love that I'm trying for the right reasons, right? You can have that patience. Patience is huge. I can't stress that enough. You can have that trust. You can have that self-compassion. You can see gaining muscle as a win, not just gaining. You don't have to look at it as gaining weight on the scale as a loss. You're like, you get on the scale and you see, okay, I gained a pound this week. You look at the breakdown on your smart scale and it's a pound of muscle. That's huge. Like that's so great, right? That's how you rewire that scale. That's how you start with a different mindset. It's not by following people that talk about weight loss. It's not by following people who are obsessed with being stuck in this cycle of weight loss. It's not by following people who can't do what they say they're going to do. You have to follow people and be in a group of people with the right habits and the right mindset and the no quitting and the pivoting mindset, all of those types of things. That is why I love body recomp so much because it becomes an area of your life where you look forward to it because the changes aren't going to happen overnight, but you also don't have to change a shit ton of things overnight. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to restrict, right? It's just easier and it's just better. I'm telling you right now, when you walk into the gym and you're like, oh, get to hit the treadmill for an hour. No, you get to go to the squat rack and you get to go to machines and you get to lift heavy and feel like a badass. Like that is so cool. You get to put on clothes and see muscle growing and really change the way that you look. Like you're in control. And that is so important. But there are so many mindset shifts that come along with it. So I hope this episode was helpful. I know it's a lot and kind of just all over the place as I usually am. But I wanted this episode to really start that conversation to let you know that I'm open to that conversation of the mindset shifts that are coming along with that. I know a lot of you haven't even given body recomp a chance, so I don't expect to get a ton of messages on this, but I would love to get some comments on this episode if you want to, or follow me at Christy Castillo Fit on Instagram and at On Fuck Your Fitness Podcast on Instagram, and reach out on either one of those and let me know if you are in a body recomp phase, what you kind of went through, what you learned, what you're learning right now, and maybe what you're nervous about going through. If you're wanting to start or you have questions, let me know that as well. The more specific, the better, because like I was saying in the beginning, talking about just the mindset shifts that come along with body recomp is a great start. And I love that suggestion. And I'm so excited that so many of you asked about it because mindset's so important. But where we've come from, like your starting place right now, and if you're starting a body recomp journey or, whatever, like where you're at right now is dependent on a lot of things that happened in your past, and it's different than anyone else. So there's going to be a lot of mindset shifts that can go into body recomp, and having more specific starting places would be so helpful. And I can create an episode on that too. But again, I hope this was really, really helpful and fun and interesting to listen to. I hope it gets your wheels turning and you can kind of start to see a different future, a different path for yourself as far as loving your body and working on your body, and a new mindset of it's good to work on your body and we get to do that. So I really hope that this started the conversation for you. And I hope to get so many messages, and I hope to continue this conversation.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.